Welcome to the kingdom. I'm Chris, and this is Good Enough Gaming. Hello everybody, and welcome to the channel where today I'm going to try something a little bit different. A few weeks ago, when One Page Rules released their first update for 3rd edition, just a couple weeks after the 3rd edition came out, I was a little caught off guard. That was a bit sudden. That seems more like a Games Workshop kind of thing. And I thought about making a video of it. Just a real quick one. Here's the changes. The one I did previously releasing, when I went over the new release for 3rd edition, seemed to be pretty popular, so I figured why not. But then I looked at it and thought, it's a few changes, it's nothing big, it'll just be a short video, no one's going to be interested in that. And then over the next few days, I proceeded to watch all these other channels do an update about it, and lots of people watched it, lots of people commented, and I thought, okay, I missed the boat on that one. So I'm not going to let that happen again. But rather than try and do a big formal production, usually my videos, I write out a script, I review it, I edit it, then record it, then do all the visuals, and it's a big deal. I'm trying something a little different here. If it's a knee-jerk reaction, I'm going to try something I'm going to call Good Enough Unscripted, where I just give quick thoughts on stuff that's happened, quick updates on something that's relevant to the parts of the hobby that I'm interested in. And since Warhammer Day was just over the weekend, and we had a chance to see some new models and things coming down the pipeline for Games Workshop, I thought this might be a time to try it out. So I'm going to go through all of the releases, or at least most of them, give my 2 bits, talk about what I think's exciting, and talk about where I think GW maybe missed the boat just a little bit here. Now, I did prepare a few images in the background for comparison. You'll see what I mean in a second, but this is all ad hoc as I'm talking. So if I make any mistakes, it's going to be immortalized forever. Okay, so let's start here with Imtech. I was super excited when I learned about Imtech, because my first army that I ever played were Necrons. It's the army that I play. It's my main army for both 8th, 9th, and 10th edition, so I'm always excited to see new models, especially when it's a named character like this one. And then I looked at the model itself, and at this point, if I was editing the film, I'd do the trombone, the wah wah, because I looked at that and I thought, where have I seen this before? And then in my mind, I thought of this, and I went, oh yeah, it's the exact same pose he used to have. I mean, almost identical. And I just thought, really? You're re-releasing him, but he's no different than before. I think back to the Illuminor Xeros model. This is the other one I wanted to pull up early. And look at that. Here's the old Xeros. Here's the new one. I mean, they're worlds apart. You can still tell it's the same model, but the size, it's at least 4 times the size. He's got a way more dynamic pose. You have him sucking the blood out of this guy. Just, I mean, it's gruesome, but holy cow, does that ever give the model some character. So I was hoping when I first saw that Imtech was getting a model, it would be something like this. And instead, not only is it the exact same pose, it's the same size. I won't play it, but if you watch the video up here, they have a picture of the model next to some others. He's no bigger than a Lich Guard. And then on top of that, they don't even paint him differently. You look at the old Imtech model, he's got the purple chest cage, and he's got the purple on the little tabard in front of him. I mean, it's a royal color. It's supposed to signify that this is one of the royalty of the Necron dynasties. And then on the staff, you can see they got that really cool kind of marble lightning look to him, because he is the Stormlord. Here, gone. It's a generic staff, just like all the other characters carry. The blade got a little bigger, I think, but he's just painted all in silver. I mean, if I didn't tell you that this was Imtech the Stormlord, and you didn't know anything else about it, you'd figure this is just another Lord model. He's got a nice cloak, but that's about it. So I was honestly kind of let down. It's a good-looking model, but I have the old one. I don't see a reason why I need to buy this one, other than it's, quote, new. So honestly, I think they dropped the ball on this one. All right, well, let's see what's next. Oh, yeah, this one. Oh, my gosh. What is that? From the knees up, it looks good. I've always thought that the Mechanicas have a really cool aesthetic, this kind of steampunk Wild West. I think it's great, but the stilts don't work. And then this thing dangling down between his legs, I don't know what they're planning on doing with that, but that doesn't work either. So I hope that some really clever, some really creative kit bashers will find a better way to make this model do what it does and be what it is without looking like something you'd see at a circus or a carnival or something like that. So far we're kind of 0 for 2. I'm a little disappointed. Now, when I saw this one, though, the thumbnail, my initial reaction was, oh my goodness, they're re-releasing the Vampire Lord on a zombie dragon. No, but I'm not disappointed. Look at that. That model's beautiful. You have this blood red dragon with this guy in black armor with a skull as his face. He's got another skull dangling in this relic thing he's holding in this gigantic mace. You could easily paint this up, put it in an undead army, and it would take a bit for people to look and go, wait a minute, that's a Sigmarine. So I think this one, they hit it out of the park. I don't even know the lore about this. I don't know anything about his rules. Just going from what the model looks like, this one is beautiful. They did with this one what they failed to do with the other two. So definitely kudos on that one. I'll come back here to this guy. Again, I think first reaction, it's really pretty. The green and the brown from the guy on top really contrast nicely with the bug underneath. So I think it looks good, but it's kind of the same pose of the Everqueen, the other big model where you have a hero riding a bug. So, I don't know. It's just like with Imtech, I got the feeling that they're just recycling and making a few changes here or there and saying, hey, be happy. I don't know. It just seems like I was expecting a bit more from that. But, you know, what can you do? All right, moving along here. Kill Team. I like the terrain. I guess we'll get to that in a second. I think these sculpts look pretty good. I've always seen Striking Scorpions. If any of you have ever watched the channel Striking Scorpion 82, he has some absolutely gorgeous playing boards. His models are super nicely painted, really immersive videos, and he does some of these really incredible apocalypse games, like 10,000 point games on each side. They're absolutely huge, but he still edits them down so where they're not 12 hours long. So I'm quite sure he'll be getting a couple of these if he hasn't got them already. So these look great. And then here we have Primaris Scouts. That might not be what they call them, but that's what they are. Scouts are getting the update just like everybody else. I still think they look good, though. And the terrain pieces, nice add-ons if you already have some of the, what do you call it here, the industrial terrain. I think those look pretty good, too. It's more like scatter. I imagine it'll be way too expensive to justify the cost, but just going on aesthetic, these would be cool to add. They'd add some character to your table. And then the last thing that I thought, this one also, like the guy riding the dragon, kind of knocked it out of the park. I've been super excited for Warhammer Old World. This was the game that started me in on the hobby, as I mentioned. I played the High Elves, and then when Old World died off and Age of Sigmar came, I thought, well, that's that. So when they announced they're bringing it back, I was really excited for it. Now, they did say it would take years, and it's been years. I think it's been 3 or 4 since they made the initial announcement, but we're starting to get the first looks. And so far, I think the models look great. They're staying true to the old aesthetic. It's not exactly a carbon copy, but you can definitely see the inspiration from the old models. I think these look beautiful. So you got the hero here riding on the Pegasus. Then they show you some of the rank and file troops. I kind of wish they'd show some of them unpainted. I know they probably don't want to do that, but some of the beauty of these models here is just how gorgeously they're painted. And if anyone's ever done this square or this checker pattern, like on this thing here, boy, that's hard to do. So it would be nice to see what these models look like unpainted to get an idea of what the sculpts look like by themselves, but probably not going to see that. But this is kind of cool. You got knights with swords and shields. You got knights with halberds. I mean, these are beautiful models. You got your old Pegasus knights. For the Knights of the Realm here, I hope they make another kit that has fully armored, like plate armored horses or something. I hope that's not all they have, but I do notice they got them in that nice formation that the Bretonnians used to have, the spear tip, the lance. I can't remember exactly what it was called. I remember it was devastating because it allowed you to put the weight of the entire unit at the tip of just one model in contact. So that was pretty brutal. Men-at-Arms models look pretty decent. I mean, you got a lot of painting. That was the one downside to Fantasy. You had to paint probably 2 or 3 times as many models. And there's your bowmen, and they're even bringing back the old stakes. Boy, I remember going to a lot of miniature markets and trade swaps and stuff like that, and you find tons of these, and I always wondered what the heck they're for. And now I know. Some good-looking hero models. That's some really incredible design or painting here. I got to figure out how to do that. But overall, I think this looks gorgeous. I think when they re-release this, there's going to be a lot of Bretonnian players, which could be good or bad depending on how you look at it. So there's my take on it. I'd say, let's see, what do we have here? 1, 2 failure, 1 success, kind of middle of the road, and then 3. So it looks like we're about 3.5 to 2.5 as far as positive versus negative. So overall, I think it was a good review, lots of good stuff coming down the pike, but I do think they dropped the ball on some really, really important stuff. So who knows? Maybe I'll go looking for a Robot Lord STL file to make up for the lack of Imtech here. But anyways, what did you think? When you watched these releases, when you saw the models, what was your reaction? I'm especially curious to what folks thought about this guy right here. Let me know if you think they were good enough or if they weren't.